need to come up with a better name than that.
You really have upped the banter as we discussed. That's a really strong start.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Pulling out all the stops today.
So just so I'm clear, are we live?
We are.
Okay,
We
good.
are live.
Good.
So, as you may have noticed, joined as always by Foley. How are you, mate?
All right. Not bad. Not bad. Nearly Friday, isn't it? Nearly time for takeaway and booze.
It is. Very nearly there. Very nearly there. Just the two of us this week. No JB. He's pretending he's important and got work or something like that. No Kev. He's also pretending he's important and got work and other such things. So just the two of us.
What takeaway should I have tomorrow?
That's the important question.
No, it's not the random one yet. I'm just curious.
I know.
Top of your head now. Gun to your head.
Curry.
A takeaway delivery man's gun to your head. What would you have?
Curry.
You mean that?
Yeah. It's getting cold. Weather's turning. Nice warm curry.
I've got to take the little and swim in at like 8:30 on a Saturday morning, and when curry comes out the other end the next morning, that's not great, Barb.
Yeah, you don't need children knocking around for
You
that.
don't want to see the children exiting the pool like they do in Jaws, exit the sea.
Exactly. Anyway, we'll move on from that topic rather swiftly. So, as usual, we'll kick off. How did you get on last week in Warrior Bowl?
Don't ask me. You know.
I am asking you. I am asking you.
I don't want to talk about it. I had the worst weekend of my short fantasy career last weekend, and it started with this shite. So I played I was going to play 4 tight ends and be the legend that played 4 tight ends, but in the end I played 3. And last minute I switched out Robert Tonyan for Julian Edelman.
Oh dear!
20 points, and Tonyan would have got me those 20 points. Instead of playing Tonyan the day before, I played Adam Troutman, thinking I was so edgy, so cool. You know, that cool kid who knows new stuff before you do. That was me, except for the fact he hit me with a big fat 0. He shouldn't have got 0. He should have got some involvement, but that's being a Saints fan for you. So yeah, that was utterly devastating. I'm also devastated about the fact that you beat me by 1 point in our Dynasty League, and I played Brandon Cooks. And in another Dynasty League, just to illustrate the point for you here, I lost by 0.6 points, and I still had Calvin Ridley to play on the Monday.
Easy. In the Money in the Bank, surely.
Christ almighty. So, yeah. I think I'm giving up on fantasy. I certainly give up on listening to me in any way, shape or form if you want any kind of expertise, except in random nonsense. But, yeah, not in fantasy.
Yeah, not a good weekend, mate. Not a good weekend. And to be honest, I knew you had a good weekend. I didn't realise you'd benched Tonyan for Troutman. That's I didn't know. So I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased I just found that out.
Yeah.
Well done. So So where are you now? Where are you? What does that put you on? And where are you? Who you got this week?
I'm 2-2. Who have I got this week? Let me have a look. I look like points wise. I'm on this week. Got 69 to 31%. Chapham playing. Scuba Lee has Lamar Jackson, so fingers crossed he's got no legs.
He'll be fine.
I know he will. He's got Calvin Ridley, as if he hasn't done enough damage to me in the last week.
Oh, he's going to crucify you this week, isn't he?
He's just got a problem with me, hasn't he? And Deshaun Watson. I quite like Deshaun Watson this week as well. Fuck.
Yeah, they could have a bounce back this week without. Now Bob's gone.
Yeah, I'm looking at that team. I'm looking at my team, and 69% is being generous there. I should absolutely batter that. So you know what that means, don't you?
You're going to get a pasting.
Oh, I'm going to get battered, yeah. I've got Montgomery and Miller playing tonight, and that's just going to... I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and just be miserable before we even get started. You know what? Answer me this. Chase Edmonds at the Jets or Montgomery tonight?
I don't like Montgomery tonight.
Neither do I.
I don't like Montgomery tonight at all. But Chase Edmonds could easily put up 0. I don't think he does. I think there's a good chance he get a few receptions. He might nick a touchdown.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think I'd probably lean Edmonds, to be perfectly honest, which sounds ridiculous, given he's a backup QB. QB, he's not even a backup QB, backup running back. over Montgomery, you should get the full load. But
yeah, I think because I'm heavily favoured, I'm going to leave Montgomery in there just so he's got 8 points, like he does every week so far.
I think there is. I think we mentioned this last week. I think there is not necessarily at running back, but I think at quarterback, especially. I think now after last week, seeing the sort of the carnage that there was around with the QBs and the missed games, I think there is actually a premium on those guys that are playing Thursday night. Because if you might end up with guys that you maybe otherwise wouldn't have started on a Thursday. Like obviously, like if you've got the two guys tonight, you've got Brady and Foles, haven't you? So if you've got Brady, you're probably starting him. But Foles, I mean, you're probably hoping not to be starting him. Some people might be, depending on where they are with the QB situation at the minute. But again, it could well be a case that actually you might not normally be starting him, but it might be worth putting him in just because at least it's guaranteed points, isn't it, this week? On he plays, the game's gone ahead, and you don't run the risk of somebody pulling out, a game getting cancelled, somebody going down, somebody getting COVID, and then you're stuck.
If it's the Titans' fault that gets cancelled this weekend, I shouldn't have to suffer. So Josh Allen should still get a lot of points.
Yeah, I think you might be struggling on that one, mate.
All right. God, it's not been my week this week, I'm telling you.
It's not, is it? It's not.
I should have a bounce back week this week, right? If the universe is balanced.
Let's hope not.
Okay. I'm not playing you, am I? You misery. All right, how did you do?
All right, let's have a look.
Stop rinsing me.
Oh, gone too far. Hold on. Well, just to make you feel better, I lost as well.
Good.
So
points as well.
Yes, I put up a good score actually, and still lost. So I didn't bench Tonyan. I started Tonyan, so that worked out quite well. So going into Monday Night Football, I was 70 points down, and I was like, "Well, this is over. This is done." I think I had Tonyan, Gurley, and Aaron Jones. So I was like, "There's a chance if Aaron Jones goes mental, like he has done in a couple of weeks, but I don't see it." And
three of them well there though.
Yeah, so ended up getting close. So apparently, because I didn't obviously watch the game because it's on at silly o'clock in the morning in the UK, but I did go slightly ahead just before the end of the game. I just eked out in front. And then Hurst got a reception right at the end and pushed me back into trailing. So
a good effort, a valiant effort.
But yeah, so that puts me at 2-2 again. This week coming up, I'm going against Dougie83, so he's 2-2 as well. And actually, so I'm 56 overall in points, and he's 58. He only scored 2 points less than me, so should be on paper a very close game. Although I've got major QB issues this week because my three QBs.
Doesn't everybody?
My QBs are Cousins, Stafford, and Cam. So Cam's still on COVID and doesn't look hugely promising that he's going to be back for this Sunday.
He won't be.
Stafford's on a bye week.
Yeah.
So that leaves me with Cousins, and I just picked up Stidham.
Well, let's talk about waivers in a sec.
So yeah, at the minute I'm starting Cousins and Stidham unless Cam manages to make a miraculous recovery by the weekend, which doesn't look optimistic. But there we go. So that's how we got on last week. So here are the overall standings. So if you haven't seen, we've posted the link on Twitter to the leaderboard. So there's a full leaderboard, all 240 people on the website, on the warriorbowl.com website, and we posted the top 20 on Twitter. So here it is. Here's the guys that are leading. So we had a new leader actually this week. So Grower has been top of the leaderboard for the last 2 weeks. He got knocked down into 5th and was replaced by Pac Tamez NFL of Touchdown and Familiar.
Good, Tim Manlad, representing the Gladiator division. Good lad. Represent.
So then we've got actually yeah. So the top 6 guys are almost all exactly the same as they were last week. So Grower's still in the top 6. Lucky Fantasy Guy, who's Martin. Trade Down Dynasty and Murph at 5-yard rush. They were all in the top 6 last week. The only difference is Kevin Tompkins of Fighting Chance. He's fallen out of the top 6, and Liam at Dolphins Abroad's moved up into the top 6. So very tight at the top. Just to throw you a couple of other stats from the week. So there's 17 teams now that remain undefeated. That's come down. There was 33 last week, so we lost a lot last week, and there's only 13 teams left yet to taste the sweet joy of victory. So 13 teams still without a win. The lowest scoring 4-0 teams, Cali King 49er in the Predator division. He scored 580.
He's cheating a living, that kid.
And only just beating a good friend of mine, by the name of 83 Meat in the Conan division, who has scored 604 points and somehow managed to luckily get himself to 4-0.
He's the kind of guy who'd do that as well, isn't he?
He is the kind of guy that would do that. Terrible human being.
He's probably strategized it that way.
Exactly. So there's 3 teams that are 0-4 that have actually scored more than the guy with the lowest points at 4-0. So that's Todd Barnes in Sun Tzu, Sour Beer Fan in Immortals, and Zaragoth Anthony in Wonder Woman division. So Stato. But just as a reminder, if you are scoring good points but not picking up wins, that when we do get to the playoffs, it's not just based on record. There are playoff spots for guys with the highest scores as well. So if you are scoring well but not picking up the wins, don't panic. You've still got a shot at getting into those playoffs.
It's okay. I'm doing neither, so that's good. Crack on.
Well, yeah, you're just the epitome of mediocrity. Could be worse.
Not after last weekend, it couldn't.
Wow, true. That was pretty bad. So, as you say, waivers. So not quite the week that we had previously, but a busy week nevertheless on waivers. So these are the top spends on waivers this week.
Can you see Dwayne Haskins?
I can see Dwayne Haskins.
Can you see $107?
I can indeed.
Can you see total bids 2?
I can.
Guess who was the second bid?
Was that you by some chance?
It was.
And what was your bid?
I've never been so happy to be disappointed in my life. And then if you look to the right, Kyle Allen, $51. Hey.
That was your bid as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The very next day.
Haskins was on Wednesday, and then I got Allen this morning.
Yeah. So these are the highest
Lucky
bids.
Goose.
These are the highest bids, I think, for these guys across the leagues. So Dearness Johnson was obviously a very popular one. He went over $100 a couple of times. So interesting one to see what happens there, because the natural assumption is that
I don't like that money for Damian Harris. I don't think he's going to return any value on that. He didn't look very good last week, did he? I know he was just coming back from something, but
he got over 100 yards, didn't he? On
but he
17 carries, I think it was.
Not good at all, did it?
Depends if he's going to keep getting the volume once Cam comes back.
Yeah, Sony will be back by then. Sony will be splitting it, and Rex will still get some, and someone else random will just rock up and do a few because Bill's that kind of guy. If he's going
to get 17 carries a game, then he's going to be worth it because you'll get a reasonable amount of volume. Yardage in that offense. It's just whether they go back to being Patriots running backs and they give it to everybody and everybody gets a little share. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Dennis Johnson's I think is an interesting one. I think because the natural assumption was as soon as Chubb went down, well that's it. Hunt's backfield. He's going to get all the touches, all the carries.
I think he will. I think he will generally. He wasn't fully fit last week, was he? He still had that groin niggle, so they weren't giving him a full workload. So now he's healthy. I think he goes back to having the vast majority of work. And I think Dennis Johnson is essentially going to be a backup. He might get a little bit more work than the average backup, but he won't be much more, I think, especially if Hunt's fully healthy. I just don't think he's going to get that much work.
No.
So
and that's it.
I didn't really put any money on the table for him because of that. I don't see him being worth that much.
No, in fairness, there wasn't anyone that I put a big bid on personally this week. I've got a few of these guys I've put small bids on, nothing major.
You should have went Dwayne Haskins, baby.
Should have.
Lucky goose.
I did pick up Dwayne Haskins last week, I think. And I was in another league. I was mid conversation about a trade when the news broke to offload Haskins. That that the news broke that he got ditched. So yeah, that conversation ended very quickly. But, never mind.
Do you gaslight them? No, not gaslight. What is it called? What is it called? You know, when you go on your dating apps and you connect with a young lady or man, and then you ignore them. What's it called?
Don't you be getting me into trouble?
You do it all the time.
Married man.
What's it called?
I don't even know what you're on about, mate.
We'll ask JB.
He'll know. He knows about these things, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So there we are. We'll see what Kyle Allen could be a good pickup, depending on how that goes. It's still Washington. They're not going to set the world alight, are they? But
fortunes, that kid.
It's going to take some changing. But even Justin Jackson, I think Justin Jackson could end up getting a reasonable size role. In that Chargers backfield, so that'll be interesting to see how that one goes.
True.
So, next up, trades. So there wasn't a lot of trades going on this week. This was the main one, and I posted this on the Twitter account, and a few people had a view on it. So I can't remember what division this one, the Boudica division, I think this one was in.
Yeah.
So McCaffrey, Locke, and Ripien, I still don't know how you're supposed to say his name. Burrow, Higgins, and CH.
What side are you on and what percentage? Don't sit on that fence.
See, I know, and obviously looking at it out of context, I think the person that's lost my train of thought which way around we are now. So they've paid a lot, really, haven't they? To get
give me your
to get McCaffrey. And I know the guy who was giving up McCaffrey was really struggling at QB last week, hence the need to get Burrow. But just looking at it on paper, then the Burrow Higgins CH side, I think, is the side that I'd want to be on.
What percentage? If 50-50, what are you going towards?
Just based on in a vacuum with no context, 70-30?
It's more like 97-3. Christ almighty.
You're not a fan?
No. We've had this discussion, haven't we? I had a very swear-filled rant, which, I'm probably not going to do. But yeah, Drew Lock and Brett Ripien worth about as much as... I can't really say my usual thing for that, because again, it's swearing. But not worth very much.
No.
CMC might be back next week, might be back the week after. When he is back, he'll probably take another 2-3 weeks to get up to speed, and then the season's pretty much over, unless the Titans do their thing and it's over this week. So yeah, Joe Burrow probably going to be a top 10 QB. Might even touch top 5 if he cracks on down the stretch. T Higgins is number 1 target, and CH a good shout at being top 5, but definitely top 10. Right? You would have thought top 5 would be well within his range of outcomes now. So. CH could easily outscore CMC the rest of the season even when McCaffrey's back, right?
It's feasible. Especially if McCaffrey's got any lingering issues with that injury.
And Kamara last year, didn't you? It took them 3 or 4 games to get back up to speed, and even then they still went right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I get it. I get why that he did it with everything that's going on last week and lacking QBs. He was clearly he had Drew Lock and Brett Ripien. He was clearly in dire straits at QB. So I get the need to make the trade. But yeah. There we go. Anyway, so that was the main trade that went off. That happened last weekend, actually, before last weekend's games. The only other one that we had so far this week was in one division. I can't remember what it was. It was Rojo for Cam Akers. So
why bother? Why would you
bother?
Wow.
not a big trade, not a big name trade, but who would you rather?
The effort that it takes to lift your finger and
who would you rather have then out of those two for the rest of the season?
What,
Ronald Jones or Cam Akers? In Memorial Bowl.
Memorial Bowl. Rojo, obviously, just because he's more likely to have a more secure volume role, but it's not that likely even then, is it, when Fournette comes back? And now you've got Vaughn looking like he can actually catch passes when Rojo has hands of stone. Akers, whether you like the talent or not, he looks like at best he's going to be in a 49ers system, according to McVay anyway, which means you're never going to count on him even if he's in favour, and right now he's not in favour and he's injured. So you probably don't want either, do you? Genuinely, but you'd probably take your shot on the volume with Rojo at the moment, I think. But you're not going to catch any more passes. You see Brady's face last week.
Oh, I know.
He dropped that first one, then he dropped the second one, then he dropped the third one, and it cut to his face, and he's like,
yeah, exactly. I think if Fournette had been fit, that job would already be his. And I know I'm probably a bit biased. I'm a bit of a Fournette truther, but I think if Fournette would have been healthy, he'd have taken that job by now. Because I can't. It's 3 passes he dropped last week.
Yeah.
Brady's not going to, and he's dropped passes before in previous weeks, so I don't see Brady tolerating that all that long. And I think as soon as Fournette's back, he's going to get a shot to take that job, and I think he will. So yeah, I don't see Rojo holding on to that volume very long once Fournette's back. So next, something a little bit different. So earlier in the week we had planned to do a bit of a what if mock draft. So what if the season started from week 5 and we knew what we knew now, and injuries that have happened. What would a draft look like if we did it today? So the plan had been to do that on Tuesday. Unfortunately, something came up. It had to get cancelled. So we're going to try and reschedule that for next week. So we've got about 12. It's going to be 12 people, all live draft. There's no bots or anything like that. So we did have 12 people sorted. So assuming they can all do it again next week, excellent. But if you want to get involved, let us know, because if anybody can't do the rescheduled date, then we'll let you know. So just drop us a message on Twitter or something like that. But we thought, well, actually, as we haven't done the draft, we'd have a little chat about if we are doing that draft in that scenario, if we had the 101 spot, who would we take?
Who would you take?
Who would you take at 101 if the draft was tomorrow? And there's no Saquon because he's down for the year. CMC is going to be out for. Well, I could take him. I don't think it would help me very much, but so Saquon's gone. CMC's down for a few more weeks. If the season started tomorrow, who would you take 101? So
you let me choose first.
I would do, but mine will come up first. So
you son of a bitch.
I also know who you want first. So so I said I would take Kamara.
I'm shocked by this. I am shocked.
So I think for me, it's a pretty easy decision.
You don't need to give a reason. He's kicking ass.
He is kicking ass. He's been phenomenal so far. And does he continue at this super high level all year? Probably not.
Yeah, he does.
Well, Thomas will be back before too long. So
he was still kicking ass when Thomas was there.
Oh yeah, he's still going to be very high, perform at a very high level. He's not going to be putting up 40 odd points weekly, though, is he?
It's not like deep, is it?
No. So he's still I think he's going to do well the rest of the season, because that's why I've said I'd take him 101. So it probably falls back a little bit from where he has been the last few weeks, but I think he's the number one scoring running back. He's the number one scoring non-QB. I think there's 6 QBs that have scored more points than him so far in the Warrior Bowl scoring. So easy 101 for me. If we were drafting tomorrow, no Saquon, CMC still out for a while.
So for my choice, I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara. Even at 1-2. Yeah, so
I know you said you would have probably taken Kamara.
Yes, I bloody would.
But
I protest. I had to take somebody else.
But I said I've already taken Kamara. because I made the slides, so I get to choose first. So you were forced to pick someone else just for the.
That, my friend, is the North Korea way of doing podcasts.
Correct.
Come on then, Kim.
So in the interests of keeping things interesting, you went for
Dak Prescott.
Dak.
Yeah.
Why did you go for Dak?
Yeah, he's the highest scoring QB so far, just above Russ. Average of 31.3 points a game. On Fantasy Pros today, I'm not sure about the same scoring in Worry Ball. He's not going to be far.
Russ is slightly ahead of him in Worry Ball.
Yeah, okay. Well, I looked at average plays per game, and Dallas are way out ahead of the Bengals, the Falcons, Philly, Titans. So they're playing an awful lot of plays per game. So it's just points opportunity, isn't it, when you play that many plays? The difference there is, I think, the Seahawks D will actually get its act together because Pete Carroll knows how to get a defense working, especially throughout the season. You know, as the season goes on, I think he's going to tighten that up. You get Adams back probably next week. I don't think they're going to have to throw the ball as much. Whereas the Cowboys D looks like a absolute bin fire, as we say over here, which we don't, but we don't say dumpster fire, but it's the same thing. So yeah, they're still going to be getting absolutely battered on one side of the ball, which means Dak's going to continue to have to launch it. Who do you think's bottom of average plays per game or number of plays per game?
Offensive plays.
Yep. You get 2 guesses. If you get it right, I will wire you £1.
Oof. Big money.
If you get it wrong, you have to wire me £5.
Number of plays.
Mm-hmm. Per game. Through 4
Jets?
weeks. Nope.
Cleveland.
No, Minnesota. Send me £5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
I'll give you my bank details. Do you want to type them on the screen?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, just pop them on. Just pop them in the chat. I'll stick them on the screen. So, okay. So you wouldn't have gone for... So you'd have taken Dak. You wouldn't have taken Mahomes or Jackson or Wilson if you were going to go QB. Or
probably gone Wilson or Mahomes next if he was going to go QB. Because I think Mahomes he'll still come good. He's had a couple of weeks where he's not scored that many, but he's always going to be up there. I think he'll end up as QB 2 or 3 lowest. If I was going to go RB, I'll probably take Dalvin just because again it looks like he's going to be the guy catching all the passes out of the backfield. Kirk's dumping it off, and he's also just running in for loads of touchdowns. And I think the Minnesota D will actually probably get their act together as well with Zimmer. He is a good defensive coach, so he'll probably get them coached up and get them tightening up, which means there's going to be a little bit more positive game scripts for Cook. So, yeah, I think that he's the challenge for me to number 1.
So you'd take Cooks over Zeke?
Not Brandon Cooks. No.
Yes.
No.
Cook. Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I'd take
over
Cook.
Zeke.
Yeah, I'd take Cook, and then I'd probably take Jones. Just again, he's absolutely on fire, isn't he? Catching passes and scoring TDs. Zeke just doesn't like he's going to get enough opportunity if the Dak thing comes true because he's not going to be in a positive game script. They're not going to be running the ball. He's not going to get loads of garbage time yardage and that kind of thing because Dak's just going to be launching it.
Yeah, and the Packers' offense has looked good.
Yeah.
Looked good, even without Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
they've
they threw it to Jones, didn't they? Yeah.
So there we go. So yes, so that's who we would both take if we were doing a draft starting tomorrow for the rest of the season at 101. As I say, the plan is to redo that draft, reschedule that draft for next week. So if you want to get involved, let us know, and if we've got any spaces, we'll get you involved. So, looking ahead then to tonight, Thursday night football.
Mm-hmm.
Bears, Bucks.
Okay.
What do you think?
What do I think?
What do you think?
I think the Bears get found out. They got a bit found out last week, didn't they? But I think they get proper found out tonight. Yeah, I think they get battered. I don't think they score many points, which is why I'm worried about having Montgomery in my lineup. But I'm not best pleased about I'm going to play him. But I don't think the Bears score many points tonight at all. I think the Bucks have got a very, very good D, and Brady's starting to find his rhythm. It was always going to take a few weeks for him to start finding a rhythm with a new offense and new playbook and new surroundings. After so long in New England. So I think he's starting to find that rhythm. You can see it, can't you? He threw 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers. So despite Godwin being out and Evans maybe being out, Miller being still a little banged up, and OJ out now, I don't think it matters. I think he's starting to get his iron, starting to understand the playbook and execute. So, yeah, I don't think the Bears score many points at all, and I think the Bucks score quite a few. I'm thinking, 30 to 12. I can see it being a bit of a beating for him, yeah. So I'd definitely play Brady. I'm starting Miller in Worry Bowl because I've got to. So hopefully.
Chicago are, I mean, if you've got Brady, you're almost certainly starting him. Chicago are giving up the 31st most points to QBs. So basically,
not played very many good ones, though.
No, the second fewest points to QBs they've given up so far. But yeah, as you say, not the best opposition that they've gone up against so far. And if you've got Brady, you're almost certainly paying him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, again, as we were saying before, if you've got Foles, hopefully you've got other guys that you can be starting in front of him. Foles is not a guy I'd want to be starting tonight.
Tonight.
They're Chicago, as I say, 31st most points to QBs. Tampa Bay 29th. So it's not much better. And I'm not a Foles fan. Foles has been a not very good quarterback for his entire career.
Hey, when he finds out that,
he's going to be devastated and probably a bit angry. So I might be in trouble. But
he's going to stick that quote up on the wall tonight. He's going to look at it before he leaves the dressing room.
Motivation.
And he's going to go out there and he's going to be pretty shit.
I think you might be right.
That's all I've got.
But yeah, I know there's a lot of, and obviously he did well the other week when he came on, and he took over, and they got that comeback win, and that's great. But basically, he had a run of about 6 games for Philly where he did all right, but the rest of his career he has been not very good. So Foles is, not interested. So yeah, other people from a fantasy perspective. Again, we already covered Montgomery. Tampa are 24th against most points against the run, so that's not a good matchup there. Even though he should get all the volume, but again, if you've got wide receiver wise, I mean, if you've got Evans or Robinson, you're almost certainly starting them, irrespective of the matchup. But what about the 2 Millers? So Scotty Miller, Anthony Miller.
Yeah, like I said, I'm starting Scotty Miller tonight because I've got to, really. I haven't really got any options. But I also think he's got a good shout of getting all the volume. Even if Evans is out there, he's probably not going to be fully healthy. So Scotty Miller, I think, is going to get hyper-targeted, which at the very least in a PPR league gives you a decent floor. I wouldn't touch Anthony Miller. I've got him in a couple of dynasty leagues and he's staying on the bench where he belongs right now because I don't think he's not fulfilling that potential. It looks like, who's he called? Darnell Mooney. Looks like he's actually getting some of the slot work and he's getting quite a few more targets than a rookie wide receiver coming in you'd think would get, especially when Miller's in his second year and looked pretty good. So yeah, I'm not touching Miller at all.
But Miller's he's only getting on the field in certain personnel groups, isn't he?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
When they're trailing, which I would expect them to be trailing this week. But yeah, he's not. If you're having to start him, he's not somebody you're going to feel confident about.
Not Miller time, baby.
Started. Not that Miller, anyway.
No.
Not that Miller. And then tight ends.
No.
What do you think about Brait?
No.
No?
No.
Flat out no?
No.
No Howard?
No.
Godwin?
No.
Evans a bit banged. All those reasons you just gave for Scotty Miller, they don't apply to Brait.
Well, Brait's really good at standing in the end zone and doing this.
That gets you 6 points last time I checked.
If you catch a touchdown, you'd be happy, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. Like that's your hope, isn't it? That's the only hope you've got. So if you've got a better option, you're going to go elsewhere, I think. No.
Fair.
No.
Graham?
No. No. He's too old.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the Bears will score enough points to even give him an opportunity. I can see him going without a TD tonight. I'm going to look really silly if they batter on him.
They put up 40.
But it's a strong take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, as I say, not if you've got those studs on your team, Brady, Evans, Robinson, you're playing them. Other than that,
pretty much. Yeah.
There's not a huge amount that you want to be going.
David Montgomery
looking at.
3 rushing touchdowns.
On your bench.
Yeah. Why do I
Well, yes.
fantasy?
Anyway, so the other thing that we'll do on a Thursday is we'll have a look at DFS. So some of you may have seen the last couple of weeks we've done a Warrior Bowl DFS contest over on DraftKings. Just for a little bit of fun. It's only $2 to enter, so nobody's going to be retiring off of this anytime soon. 20 people in the competition, so just for a little bit of fun. So last week, the winner was the Fantasy Kid 13, and the runner-up was Jacob Dreyer.
How much did you win?
$25.
Nice.
It's $36 split between the two of them, with the winner getting the majority, which I think it's $25. I think.
What would you buy with $25?
A few more weeks of DraftKings, probably.
Oh, okay, not a sponsor. Sure.
However, so those guys did really well last week. Me, you, and JB, who was with us last week on this, were terrible.
I got 11.
So JB was last.
That's why he's not on.
I was 19th out of 20, so not much better. And you were the model of consistency because you were 11th again, as you were 11th last week.
Low and steady, the race, but it does lose £2 a week.
Yes.
JB got last. Why didn't you tell me that? That's brilliant.
Well, I'm telling you that right now. There you go.
The world needs to know.
So this week we're going to be much better. And we did, in fairness, we did say the very first week that we did this, I said especially, don't in any way listen to me in terms of DFS because I am rubbish at DFS and I have no clue what I'm doing.
How have you afforded all them good players?
Well,
you cheat somehow, don't you? You give yourself a big budget. That's nonsense. You can't have all them good players.
So this is my lineup for this week. So I've got Dak against the Giants because despite being a Giants fan, they're not going to be troubling Dallas all that much. So comfortable with Dak there. CH against the Raiders. David Johnson against Jacksonville. Both pretty good matchups this week. John Brown, who is questionable at the minute, so he might have to change if that.
He's going to be sat at home. That game going ahead.
That's the other issue. If that Buffalo-Tennessee game doesn't happen, then again, I'm going to have to make a change there and replace him. Debo, so didn't do a huge amount last week. He had 3 catches on 3 targets. I think he had about 10 yards rushing. So, but I think Jimmy G's supposed to be back this week. Yeah. So hopefully that's a bit of an uptick for him. So hopefully Debo will be a good option. Juju, who's also questionable at the minute, but I think he'll probably be all right. Mo Ali Cox, again, good matchup there. Singletary, which again, I may well have to replace if Buffalo game gets cancelled. And then the Chiefs at the Raiders. So
why don't my players look so cheap compared to yours?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh well, it's sometimes when you hate your team the most that you actually do the best, isn't it? Because I love my teams and I've been absolute shite. So maybe this one that I don't like will be really good.
So who have you got?
I like Matt Ryan for a bounce back week. Carolina have actually been a sneaky good defense over the last couple of weeks, haven't they? They've been getting better and better, but that might not necessarily be a bad thing because they might have to go at each other and score some points. So yeah, I quite like Ryan for a bounce back this week, even with Julio out and other issues there. Gibson, I really like this week, even though it's the Rams. I think Carl Allen coming in is good because that's just check down the city, isn't it? He just hyper-targeted CMC last year, and I think he's going to do the same with Gibson. Gibson looks like he's the real deal. And if he's going to get that much work out the backfield and in the air, I'm all about that. McKinnon's still got the backfield to himself, happy with that. Chark at Houston, I could probably catch passes on Houston. D-Hop is D-Hop. DJ Moore, quite like for a bounce back as well. I think he's probably just sat there getting really pissed off that everyone's saying Robbie Anderson's better than him. So I think he's got that quote up on his wall and he's going to go out there and do big things. Schultz, because why wouldn't you against the Giants? No offense. And Hardman needs to catch 2 for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, which he probably will. So yeah, I hate the team, but I think it'll win.
Well, we will see. We will see. Interestingly, you mentioned Ryan against Carolina. Do you think they blow it again this week?
Oh God,
against Carolina.
So. Oh God, I hope so.
Is that primarily just so we can lay it on a bit thicker with JB?
Yeah, I think it got to the point where it got past the fun stage, got past the kind of acceptance stage, and it just got into kind of I'll hide in the cupboard, just so I don't see any more banter about the Falcons. At one point, he said I sent a quite a mean meme, and he said it was uncalled for. I'm like, what else do you do with a mean meme?
Exactly.
Of course,
exactly.
Of course, you send it. You know. So
I can't. As much as I hope that they do, I can't see because they're going to put points up. I can't see Carolina gunning a lead down.
Get out of it, Teddy B, man. Teddy B's
like, I mean, to be fair, I didn't see the Chicago gunning a lead down, but I don't see Bridgewater.
Teddy will just get out early and just absolutely destroy him
with his 10-yard passes. I don't see
with his 20-yard runs. Go on, Teddy B.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think as much as I would enjoy them not winning again this week, especially if it's in dramatic fashion again, I think they probably get off the mark this week.
Good fun, man.
But yeah, so those are our DFS lineups for this week. The score to beat, because as we mentioned before, whoever has the highest weekly score between now and the end of the season will get an automatic invite to Warrior Bowl 2021 next year. So the highest score is still the score from the first week, which was 212.8 by Rearview Mirror. So he is still the one to beat. He's in the lead. So the guys last week didn't put up enough points to get to that. There we had about 170, 180, something like that. So a little way off. So we'll see how long that lasts as the highest score. So, hello. So that brings us to around about the end.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I know it doesn't.
For you,
of course, you've got a question.
A random question.
I can't deflect to JB this week.
Would you streak at the Super Bowl for £10,000 cash with all expenses covered?
Do I get to watch a game?
Well, no, it'd be half time, so you'd watch the first half, but you get ejected, obviously. So £10,000 in cash.
Nope.
Wired to you. 20.
Nope. I'd rather watch the second half of the game.
50 grand. Real life. Real cash. £50,000. Genuinely, £50,000 the next day you'd have in your account.
Depends who was in the game and what the score was.
No, it doesn't. Would you do it for 50 grand?
I'd be tempted.
So would you do it for 50 grand?
I might well do.
No, is that a yes?
It's not a yes. It depends on the game and who. If it was the Giants, so probably not. No, definitely not.
So 75 grand, even if it's the Giants. How much? Would you do it for 75 grand?
Probably, yeah, probably.
So you would do it for 75 grand?
Probably, yeah. Are you planning on crowdfunding this or what?
Would you do it for 70?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to split hairs over £5,000.
So you do it for 60 then?
This is going to be a long thing.
Would you do it for 60?
What would you do it for?
You got to finish first. Would you do it for 60?
Well, I said for 50. It would depend on what the score was.
So you would do it for 50?
If it was not a team I was interested in and it was a blowout or it was a terrible game, then yeah, I'd probably do it.
You'd do it for 40, wouldn't you?
So what would you do it for?
I'd do it for nothing.
Yeah, I know you would. You'd pay yourself to go and do it.
I'd pay 10 grand to do it.
Yeah, I know you would.
So we need so now I've actually set up that crowdfunding already, ready to go. I just need to type in the 40 grand and we're good to go.
75 grand.
No, you said you do it for 40.
I'm pretty sure we didn't. Plus the flight, accommodation, legal fees to get me back out afterwards.
A new job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So 40 grand. We just need to raise. Sunshine will streak at the Super Bowl. Done.
Thanks, mate.
The world.
Good to know.
Everyone knows it.
75 grand, but never mind.
Sure.
Anyway, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. So thank you very much for joining us. Hope again you found that mildly entertaining. Thanks, Foley, for joining me again, as always.
Good night.
And good luck at this weekend, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.